Sometime back in the early 90s, I had written a number of R&B songs with my co-writer, Curtis Boone. We had submitted some of our material to the Billboard Song Contest and taken first place in the R&B rap category for our song entitled Then Came You. One of the judges for the show was none other than Quincy Jones, whom I had intensely admired, especially since watching that 1964 film, The Pawnbroker, featuring Rod Steiger. Quincy's music drew me right in. A few years later, Detroit Adcraft Club held a luncheon where Quincy was the featured speaker. It was a music-themed gathering, and so I was invited to attend and sit at the head table with Mr. Jones. My seat was to be right next to his, and I was thoroughly humbled. Thinking about what was in store, I thought I would take the opportunity to bring some of my music to the event. Perhaps he'd be interested in adopting my material for the artists he was producing. I cut my family vacation short at this tantalizing chance and flew back from Florida to prepare 2 duplicate CDs that I had hoped to present to Quincy at some point during the afternoon. Upon arrival to the luncheon, I sat down at our dignified table, which was placed on a set of risers. Not wanting to be too presumptuous, I secretly placed the 2 discs on the floor next to my foot. I didn't want to be that guy lacking in etiquette and having an agenda, so I kept the CDs out of sight until a proper opportunity came about. I doubt the poor man was able to complete the salad course with my constant jabbering. I mentioned to him of my first awareness of his scoring ability in the Pawnbroker movie, and he was surprised that I even knew about it, as it was his first cinematic project. I kept touching the discs in the meanwhile with my foot during the meal, making sure they were still there. I figured that perhaps during dessert, I could present him with my material without being too incessant. But at some point, I had lost track of them and they seemed to disappear. To make matters more weird, when I reached out with my foot, I felt something else, although I couldn't figure out exactly what it was. Quincy seemed visibly annoyed. He asked me at that point, what's going on down there? Apparently, I kept touching his shoe in search of the discs, to no avail. I was thoroughly embarrassed, not knowing how to respond. I apologized and excused myself. The only thing I could have surmised is that the discs had fallen through the cracks of the riser, forever gone. After lunch, he looked at me conspicuously. It seemed like the hope of making a musical contact was forever lost with a man whom I thought could propel my career. Moral of the story: never try to conduct your business under the table. You might end up reaching something you never expected.